Wait a minute. Stop. Have you purchased your copy of Through It All? If you haven't, I am encouraging you to do so. Everything that you've heard in this podcast and everything that you're going to hear in this podcast is directly from this book, Through It All. You can go to Gail Estella Facebook, Gail Estella 1 on Instagram, and Gail Estella Speaks on Instagram. Or you can DM me, Gail Estella on Facebook. Now back to the podcast. You saw the Gail Estella Survival Podcast, Domestic Violence. We are breaking the silence with Jeremiah and Jada, two teens that I have grown to love very much. Miss Tasha is Jeremiah's mother.
Yes, that is my dude.
He's a good young man, So let's get started.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about self-love, talking about the times that we didn't love ourselves, the insecurities that led us into the situations that we found ourselves in, how we came out of it, and how we have grown to love ourselves. Do you love yourself today?
I do.
I do too. I do too. So let's delve into this. Domestic violence, domestic abuse. We are both survivors. Can you tell us, or what age did you first experience domestic abuse?
Well, that's a very good question because it actually started within my family first.
Wow.
And I was really young.
And so you say within your family, meaning seeing it in the home, or were you a victim of it as well then?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to expound, or do you want to?
I will just say this. What I experienced, it was because the individual had maybe experienced it too.
In most cases.
And
that's what happened.
Yep. And they were acting out what they had been through. What they knew. Yep.
What they knew. Wow. Okay. So you experienced it in your family first.
Yeah.
Then you grew up. And let's talk about relationships. Ooh. When did you experience domestic abuse in a relationship?
I experienced it as a teenager.
A teenager?
Yep.
How old were you?
I was 16. And I didn't even know that it was domestic abuse then. I had no idea. None whatsoever.
So when you say you didn't know it was domestic abuse, looking back now, what form was it?
Physical.
Physical.
Yep.
Okay. So is it because you had seen it or experienced it as a kid when you were growing up that you didn't know that hitting someone was physical abuse?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't connect it.
We're gonna come back to that when we're talking about the education part, because that's good. That's real good. You're not connecting the two. So in this teenage relationship, and we both are a member of LSO, and that's when we go in.
Yep.
And you've been doing a lot of it, going into the schools and talking to the teenagers about unhealthy relationships. So that's a great thing, because it does start at such an early age. How long did you stay in that relationship?
I didn't stay long. It was like I met him, talked to him, wanted to do what I wanted to do, and he apparently had something else on his mind. So it stopped from right there. It didn't go any further.
Okay. First time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we know abuse came afterwards because of Jeremiah's interview.
Yep.
So was the next relationship abusive as well?
Not until I got married.
Okay.
When I was 30.
Did you see the signs before marriage?
I saw a sign, but the connection still wasn't there. It wasn't there because I just thought it was a man getting angry and raising his voice. That's it.
So now you're 30. And you're saying the connection still wasn't there.
Yeah, still wasn't there.
So what is it that we're not being taught? What is it that's not being or wasn't being talked about that by the time you were 30 years old, you didn't recognize domestic abuse? And not just necessarily saying for you, but in general as a whole.
I believe it's just a blockage, and it could be the fear, because growing up, and I'm pretty sure you probably heard this statement, what goes on in the house stays in the house. Mm-hmm. And that statement alone, it screams fear and secrecy.